Sorry, I couldn't hear you. You're not there. You're here. Hello. Now we got some sound. There we go. Now I can talk to the people in the room. Lovely. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you in the room today. It's lovely to see an almost full house here. And to those of you who are joining us online, welcome to you as well. We might not be able to see you, but you are in our hearts today. Again, a warm and friendly Regenesis welcome to all of you. Each one of you in this room today, or following us online, have come to us through your own personal journey. Wherever you come from, where you grew up, where you went to school, your family, etc. But you are in this room today, and we are united by one single purpose, and that is to secure the very best future for yourself. I see some parents over here, and we're delighted to have parents over here. That's always great to see, and I'm sure there are parents watching online. But today is a very important day. Each one of you have a decision to make. You might not make the decision today, but you have that decision to make about how you want your future to unfold. And I envy you being in this position because there's so much exciting things ahead of you, opportunities, things to learn, and it's all based on education. And education is important. If you buy a house, the house can burn down. You've got no house. If you buy shares in a company, it goes bankrupt, you've got no shares. But if you buy education, it is indestructible. And you look at the life cycle from where you are now to where you will be when you become really old, like me, where you go through there and what your education will do for you. Now let me tell you a little bit about Regenesis Business School. And I need to tell you about myself because my name is James Forson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer looking after academic affairs. And again, it is my privilege, some of you might have joined later online, it's my privilege to welcome you all here. Let me tell you about Regenesis. We're very proud, and I've got to hold myself back because there's so much I can tell you, but you haven't come to listen to me. There are other things you want to talk about. Let me tell you about this because you've been all over the website. You've asked questions, but you want to see the substance now. You want to see it. You see the campus over here, and you want to understand this. Now, Regenesis has been around for essentially a quarter of a century. Some of you might not be a quarter of a century old yet, so it was started before you were born. So that's a nice thing over there. It's an independent business school, so we are not trapped by the bureaucracy, administrative procedures of more traditional classical universities and institutions of learning, which means we are agile, we are fleet, and we can respond to your needs and requirements, both in terms of course delivery, as well as developing new courses. And we've got some very nice qualifications, which we've recently introduced and which we are introducing as we go along. Because we are an independent business school, our focus is on our students. Because if we don't have students and we don't make you happy, then we are not doing what we should be doing. So there's a very strong support network for students from the time, and you probably have experienced some of that, when you become a student over here, you have a specialist student support person who works with you. You don't send an email off to some nameless person out there. You know this person by name, and they will assist you and you guide you through your studies, through your payments, through any other problems you have. If you're asking for extensions, then you have that resource available. And especially if you're coming straight out of school, that's such a powerful thing, and it's a key differentiator between us and many other business institutions. Regenesis operates around the world. We have our campus here in Johannesburg, of course. We have a campus in Mumbai in India. We have a campus in Lagos, Nigeria. And we are doing the finishing touches to an elegant campus in Kenya, in Nairobi. And we have rep offices in Tanzania and in Rwanda. Now I'm telling you this not that you go ooh and ah and say, oh my goodness, that's great. But we come from the perspective of the global south. We're not some Western country organization dealing with Western things. We understand the global south, we understand Africa, we understand developing economies, and that's what we give to our students, that they can have the impact they have, because the world is very short of people who can do those things. And so that's because we are informed by countries like Nigeria, like South Africa, like Kenya, like India, we translate that into our learning. It's a point of view. It's not a Eurocentric, it's not a Northern Hemisphere point of view. It is a truly an African point of view, but informed in a very much more nuanced sense. So we have close to 700 people working inside Regenesis. They're there to support you. They range across a variety of different business units. Today we are talking about the School of Business primarily, but the School of Law, School of Finance, and the School of Technology form part of that. But we also have other operations looking at Digital Regenesis, which is an online career development program, set of programs, in fact, to upskill your IT skills and your project management skills, and then there are a variety of other programs they have for that. But you are here for a degree, a qualification to take your career to the next step. Some of you will be looking at bachelor's degrees, some of you will be looking at diplomas, some of you might be looking at an honors or a master's, and some of you might even be looking at a doctorate. Because we offer the whole spectrum, right from the certificate program, certificate in business, a certificate in public management, all the way through the doctoral program. So we are reinforced by very strong commitment to the standards and quality requirements of the Council of Higher Education. And this is the great comfort to you and to you out there joining us on the internet, that all our qualifications are underwritten by the Council on Higher Education, which is it's a South African institution, but its qualifications, or the qualifications it hallmarks, is carried throughout the world. You can go in with a Regenesis degree into any part of the world, and people will evaluate and say, yes, we understand the level, we understand the quality around what you are providing there. And that's a very important thing, because we have seen some cases where people possibly are a little bit opaque about their qualifications, and we don't have that problem over here. So for you, each of you, this is a magical moment. You're going to take a decision, a very important decision. It's going to affect your life. And let me share with you some of the graduate attributes which we try to inculcate in our students. And these are things you are going to find very attractive around this. And I'm not going to touch on all of them, but I will touch on some of them. Part of it is being able to think intellectually, think critically, and evaluate all sorts of information coming at you. Data-based, and based in fact, it gives you an advantage. We can see the world around us with all sorts of funny things going around on social media. It gives you the ability to filter out the things that are based in fact and truth, and things that you can discard. It's such a powerful, critical thinking approach. Then, we also help you to think creatively. And there's a terrible term called thinking out the box. I think sometimes we just fold the box up and throw it away. We just jump up and get in beyond that. Is approaching problems, be they in business, be they in life, whatever, approaching these problems from an entirely different point of view, and creating the techniques and methods and understandings to be able to see problems a different way. And we need people who can do that. And that's what you're going to get over here. And then the final thing, which I'm going to share with you today, on the graduate attributes we have, is the demeanor. You've all been to meetings or having conversations, and there's a person who walks into the room, and you say, I better listen to this person. This person's got something useful to say. This person's got something interesting to say. And that demeanor, that attitude, that bearing that we help our students to create is so important, because you will need that in the boardroom, you will need that in the factory, you will need that in the operating theater. Wherever your career goes out in the future, that demeanor of being a person of substance. And again, it builds on your ability, your critical thinking ability, and also it builds on your ability to think differently, out of the box, to use that term, which you've probably gathered by now. I'm not terribly keen on it, but we know what it means in that context over there. And those are deeply desirable things to have. But that's not all, as they say in the TV adverts, is it? We have something called an Academic Excellence Program, which is going to be really exciting. It doesn't matter what course you're going on, you're going to find this really interesting. And this is where we work intensively with our students, because you're not here just to get a degree, but you are here also to do something with that degree. You've got to make a difference in the world. You've got a career, a future. You're going to be with us 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but it's what you do with it afterwards. And this academic excellence program looks at things like how you manage your life, your physical health, because you need to be fit and healthy to have a long career. People are living way beyond what used to be retirement age, and you want to be fit and healthy. So getting yourself in a position where your mental health and your physical health are aligned so you can do the things, the exciting things you want to do, physical and mental health. Then we also assist you with understanding finance and personal finance and managing your finances and managing your acquisition of assets and managing your investments so that you can live the life you want, do the things you want to do, go to the place you want to go to, and you're not mired down in debt. We have a whole business unit called My Wealth Investments, and that is part of the process we provided. So you can manage your finances, and this is now beyond your career, going on for the rest of your life. Then obviously there's a very strong emphasis on emotional intelligence, or being able to get on with people, dealing with people from different cultures, different languages, different religions, different upbringings, different generations. You might not think about, I'm actually a millennial over here, but never mind. Because you see, we draw from different societies. And we spoke about Kenya, we spoke about India, we spoke about Nigeria. We draw this so people can work in different cultures and backgrounds. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and giving our students the ability and the experience of being that. And then one of the most powerful things that we at Regenesis have is what we call spiritual intelligence, or we could call it conscious leadership. And it's certainly, it's not from a religious point of view, but it's being aware of what your purpose is, what the impact is that you want to create in the world, the impact you want to leave. Because you're not just going to go out and do a job after you qualify, yeah? You're going to make a difference in the world. And we have a speaker a little later on who makes a huge difference in the world, and that will show you that how it's done and how it can be done. But we also assist you with plotting your career. What is the thing that's unique about you? Speaking to your talents, speaking to your skills, speaking to your Regenesis experience, and how you use that to drive your career in the world and make change, beneficial change in the world around you. And that is something which is deeply needed in the world, and that is part of what drives Regenesis as an institution, because we don't just give you a degree, a piece of paper, come and stand on the platform here, people wear red clothes and funny hats and things like that. And that will come for you, eh? That will come for you. You will get that opportunity there. But it's what you do after you leave here. I cannot emphasize that enough. Giving you the wherewithal to plot your career. So it's a career of excellence, it's a career of contribution, and it's a career that makes a difference in the world. And each one of you right here today, in this room, and those of you online, are in that position where you can go down that trajectory. You can get to that position. So let me see if there's anything else I need to tell you about. I was going to check my notes to make sure I haven't left out important things. Right, good. I think I've covered all the things that need to be done. And of course, you know that you haven't come here to listen to me. Now, we're going to have a speaker now who's going to tell us about his life and his experience. And his name is Pepe Marais, and if you follow the financial media and the advertising media, you will know the name. It's a very well-known name. It's a very name of substance in the world. And you remember I was talking about that Mina the Bearing? That's what we're talking about inside this area. Now, our speaker went bankrupt in 2009. That is the worst possible thing for anybody to do, is to go bankrupt. You can't make payments. People can't get the income, etc., etc. But our speaker, Pepe Marais, with his partners in the business, turned the business around, the advertising business they ran. Joe Public was the name of the business, and they turned it around to one of the most successful advertising businesses in South Africa, with a massive footprint and a massive impact in the lives of people, both in terms of the products and services they help to position in the marketplace, and also in the work that they do. Besides being a founding partner of Joe Public, which, if you haven't been there, go and have a look at the website, because there's some really powerful things. He's also chairman of the One School at a Time Foundation. This is a way of giving back. This is an organization that looks after schools, 2 schools at the moment, Forbes in Soweto and Itarili Zenzile in Diepsloot, and helping these schools get to a position where they can provide excellent education. As we try to do with people after school, he's working with institutions to be able to make those schools make a difference. Giving back to the world, that's such a powerful thing to do. Again, the impact of that is vast and massive. Not only that, he's written a book, and I think there are many more books coming from him as well too. The book is Growing Greatness, A Journey Towards Personal and Business Mastery. And that speaks so eloquently to what I've been telling you about earlier on. The Regenesis experience, both the formal courses and the other things we add to it, puts you in a position towards personal mastery, myself, my impact on the world, and business mastery, making businesses work. Pepe Marais has a master's in business administration, which comes from Regenesis Business School. He's currently finishing his doctorate on organizational purpose. And watch this space. This is something that's going to clog the social media and clog the news media out there when this comes out. It's powerful and it's groundbreaking in the impact it's going to have on organizational purpose. Remember I spoke early on about spiritual intelligence and conscious leadership? This speaks directly to that. So our speaker today is Pepe Marais. He's the chairman of Joe Public, and he's going to talk to us about his life and journey at Regenesis and in the world. Let's welcome Pepe Marais. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm always amazed, the internet. Be careful what you do out there, because they can find out everything about you that you don't really advocate. So thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you, everyone, all Regenesis, just for the honor to speak to you today. I don't have a pocket to put my hand in. So I've been thinking about what I want to speak to today, and I'd like to speak about believing is seeing. You know, the construct is seeing is believing. As humans, you know, we only believe when we see stuff, and my experience being around believing is seeing. And I came around this insight at the age of 19, 20, when I went into my first post-matric tertiary. It was a little art school in Cape Town, so I don't even think it was completely accredited, and I fell into art. Before that, at school, I wasn't very academic. I was very, very good at maths. I think I got an A for maths in matric, and everything else a D. So academia was never my thing. I was more intuitive, and I was drawing a lot, and I was thinking a lot, but I never saw myself as academic. So when I fell into art, my self-belief was heightened, because for the first time I could do something really, really well. And I started to believe in myself for the first time in my life. Before that, I just didn't feel good enough. And I believe I can have a business before the age of 30. And I believe I will become financially successful. And I believe I'll make so much money by 50 that I can retire and I can buy a yacht and sail the world. That was my belief. And at the age of 39, you just mentioned now, James, that we were bankrupt. And I was confronted with this thing, that belief doesn't work. Because everything I worked for, I ended up with nothing. We literally had nothing. I had a 2-year-old boy at that stage. And by no means comparative to the real poverty in this country. I mean, I'll never do that. I'm still a very privileged person. But we had nothing. We couldn't eat. So I started thinking about this thing about believing is seeing. Does it really work? And I realized I was believing in the wrong thing. I was believing in everything that serves myself. I was believing that I want to have a business, but I wanted the business to make money so that I could be rich. And I was believing that I want to retire, so it was all about serving myself. So it wasn't the believing and seeing that was wrong, it was actually what I chose to believe in. And through that process, there's this amazing insight that came out now through my studies as well, that you need a breakdown to have a real breakthrough in life. So the bankruptcy was a breakdown, and it gave me this huge breakthrough in consciousness. I suddenly saw things differently. I suddenly realized the way I'm trying to make money is wrong. It's self-serving. I need to find a higher value that I serve in life, and then the chips must fall. Because in business, money is called the bottom line. It should be at the bottom. But in all businesses, it's a top priority. Like in most, I would say 99% of businesses, the number one priority is profit. Still to this day. And I shifted, and I found myself a higher purpose for my life. I actually constructed it on the 12th of January 2007. It was a Friday night. And based on that insight, that shift from serving myself to serving others, I wrote a 25-year plan. I'll never forget it. I wrote a 25-year plan towards 2032 with milestones. The number one milestone was we must buy our business back. Our business was owned by an entity that was listed on the New York Stock Exchange, 100%. I was only an employee at that stage of the business I founded. The number one thing was buy the business back so that we can actually serve our people and our country. That was the number one. We wanted to serve our people, serve our country, get the business back. A bankrupt business, so it was affordable. Number two was we'll build that business into the number one by 2013 in our industry. Number three was to start the endeavor with schools in townships. The next step was by 2018 to go, and I never in 2017 knew what it meant, but it said on this vision plan of mine, take a step towards my greater vision in 2018. I wrote in 2024 I'll start working for government, and then I said I'll work towards my vision until 2032, and then something momentous will happen which I don't know. And I put it in my drawer, and I sort of reflect on it annually. Subsequently, every single thing has happened, all the way through to the offer to work in government, which I declined, and I won't get into that. But what was profound was in 2018, I was invited, like this morning, to go and speak at Gallagher Estate to 300 entrepreneurs. South African breweries asked me to come speak to the entrepreneurs. And as I walked into Gallagher, I could choose for my little name tag, Mr., Mrs., or Doctor. Now I'm a creative guy, so I went, I'm just going to have some fun. So I put on Doctor. And they printed my tag, Dr. Pepe Marais. So now I walked onto the stage, and they introduced me, also very lofty introduction. I'm just a normal Afrikaans guy with a wife and a child and trying to navigate through this crazy, what they call the VUCA world. And I got introduced by the speaker because now they saw my tag as Dr. Pepe Marais. And everyone in the audience, I could literally get a sense that they paid more attention. Some took paper out. Everyone sat up to take note of what I was going to say. And 20 minutes in, I was like, I can't lie about this. So I told them this little thing that I did just to make a joke. And I sort of justified that I should have 3 doctorates because I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. So I tried to make light of it, but instantly it was as if I had a sense that my words, the weight of my words didn't matter anymore. I got that sense. It wasn't my ego, because my ego, I said earlier on to you, my ego is a little bit less than what it used to be. It's a great thing about age, your ego reduces. Or maybe I'm just very privileged. But I literally sensed that they weren't that interested in what I was going to say. I thought that interesting. It's when you've got a financial advisor and he comes to see you, and then when he leaves, he drives away in an old car. You suddenly think, okay, he can't be good. But if he drives off with a Porsche, he must be very good. So if you see me in the basement today, don't see what I drive. I drive a Vespa. So So this is how we work as human beings. And that little event made me decide I'm going to get a doctorate. I had no ambition to ever get into academia. In fact, I used to shun academia. I used to go, academics, they don't know what goes on in the real world. We work on our intuition, we entrepreneurs, we build businesses, we create jobs. I used to shun academia. So the next step was then, where am I going to study? Because now I'm going like, okay, I have to get a doctorate. I thought it's quite easy because maybe they'll give me like a doctorate just for working so hard in my life as an entrepreneur. As it turns out, it doesn't work like that. You have to go and do a postgraduate first, then you have to go and do a master's, and then you can do a doctorate. So I've got the resource to go wherever. I'm very privileged today. We got out of the bankruptcy. We've got an incredible business of substance, which is at infancy stage. And I could choose, at that stage on my radar was Gibbs, there was Henley, and then of course Regenesis popped out. And when I read up about Regenesis, what hooked my intuition was the idea of spiritual intelligence, which to me taps into being purposeful in life. Emotional intelligence. I'm working on emotional intelligence. At 40, I realized I had the emotional intelligence of a 20-year-old. It was hard work for me to match my emotional intelligence with my experience. I can get very feisty, and I can really break people. I'm a good leader. I'm far from a great leader. So much work to do. IQ, of course, the intelligence, which all schools cater for, but they miss out the more important spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence, and then the physical, the PQ. I thought that's so interesting, that there's an institute that thinks broader than just academia, and that attracted me. I remember on my first interview, I was fed vegan food. I actually WhatsApped my wife and said, geez, they know I'm a vegan. I didn't know that the founder was a vegan. So I was really attracted to the school. And so my journey started with my DBM. And from there I went into my master's, which is probably the second most difficult thing I've done in my life other than growing a business. Extremely, extremely difficult journey for me as a non-academic, but one that I really threw myself at. Like I absolutely put in the time. I was in class every Saturday. I wasn't doing it online. It was pre-COVID. And then from there, when I finished, I knew if I stopped, I won't continue, and then I won't live up to that little spark. And I went straight into my doctorate. And doing a doctorate is like learning to speak Greek. It is the most difficult thing I've ever done, but if I think of the profound experience of my life, I would say the number one was seeing the birth of my child. Number two was discovering my purpose. Number three is growing my business with my partners, profound experience of growth. And number four is my journey with Regenesis. Profound, profound, profound shift. So the way it stretches your thinking and your mind and your ability and your dreams and the impact you can make as a human being is just off the chart. And we don't all have to change the world. We can just change ourselves and affect the people around us. So in conclusion, I don't want to speak too much, but if you're sitting here today, then you're in a privileged position to even be able to consider investing in yourself. So today I'm a very proud creative academic. I'm a much more balanced person for it, much more balanced. My rational thinking, it just came up for me now, there's this little saying, I don't even know what the truth of it is. 2% of people think, 3% think they think, 95% of people would rather die than think. The people who change the world are the 2%. So if you're sitting here today, you're potentially part of the 2% of the world that can change the world. And what this school will give you is the tool that will stretch your mind. So lastly, what I want to say, because you always consider the options, I was conflicted because, is the content better or is it worse than any other institute? I will never know, you know. But what I do know is the profound impact that it's had on my life, on my business. So I had the huge privilege of being able to implement my master's onto our business and now my doctorate onto our business. So I can only speak positively about this experience. And I can only speak positively. You mentioned about the support. I try to have an affair with 2 other universities. I will name them, University of Natal and UCT. And their service did not compare to the support that I get at this school. So I came home for my doctorate here. And yeah, I wish whoever makes the choice to invest in yourself, I wish you only the very best, and truly believing is seeing. Just believe in yourself and you will be amazed how much potential you have as a human being. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, and all the best, and enjoy your day.
Well, there is a little bit of food for thought, isn't there? That makes you think. Because what's stopping you, any one of you in the room today, or any of you watching online, that in 15, 20 or 30 years from now, you couldn't be doing the same thing in a different place at a different time? And this is where it starts. Pepe, thank you so much for that. Thank you for that inspirational. Let's give him a loud, a rousing round of applause. I'm actually a bit annoyed with Pepe, because he said what I would have liked to have said, but he said it much better than me. He's really captured the essence of Regenesis as a Regenesis consumer, and that is so deeply powerful, because each one of us have come here today by a different journey. To be here, to be faced with the decision, faced with opportunity. You've heard how Pepe has structured his life, and you will craft, going from beyond today into the future, you will craft your own journey going forward, your own journey of achievement, your own things you will do, but it will give us nothing, it will give us huge pleasure and satisfaction if sometime in the future we could welcome you here to this great atrium and you can graduate on the stage over here. That would be our life, and that is within your call over there. So, thank you to all of you for now, but don't go anywhere yet. No, not over yet. For our folk watching online, thank you for being here. We aware that you're with us, and we know that you've got lots of questions. At the bottom of your screen, you will see the Q&A box. Park any questions you have in there, things you want to know, information. There's no limit on the types of numbers of questions you can pose. Please give us your questions over there, and one of our student support people will get back to you and answer. There's usually a lot of people having questions. I've said, it might take a bit of time, just be patient. We will answer your question. To those of you in the room, this is where it gets exciting now, because you've all been sitting now and you're sort of nodding off to sleep, and it's, you know, you had a good time last night. Now we go to action now. We're going to split you up into various rooms depending on the faculty or department of interest you're in, you want to do, to go and speak to people from that school, find out more about the course, and answer your personal questions. There'll be a senior academic from the school will be in the room, and there'll also be student support people as well too. So you are not going to go away today without having all your questions answered. So in this room over here, the first room here, the School of Business goes in here. So you want to do a BBA, that's the place to go, or a certificate in business administration. Over here is the School of Public Management. If you see a future of yourself in public management, this is where you go, the Bachelor of Public Management. Over here is the School of Technology, and we are very proud of our School of Technology. This is our brand new little baby that's come on board. We're looking at the first intake over here, and there's a lot of interest going in that. So tech, computers, this is where you go. Then further down, we've got the School of Law. And that's been an absolute runaway success, and we're so excited about putting lawyers into the world who will make a difference. And then just to the left is the School of Finance, which the core program there is the BCompt, which is a highly sought after, highly valued qualification. So, and those of you who want to do a doctorate, yes, at the room at the back there, I think it's just beyond that potted plant that is looking a little bit emaciated over there. We'll meet over there and we'll talk to you about that. So, from me to all of you, thank you for being here. Make your decision about where you'd like to go, which thing. If you find you're in the wrong room, there's no reason why you can't jump out the room and go off to another room. And we are about to be interrupted by an important news bulletin. MBA, oh yes. You see, it's a problem of advantage. You forget things. If you're interested in doing an MBA, which is obviously a more advanced program inside the School of Business, you're in Nelson Mandela, which is a room, not a person, and it's through that doorway over there, and it's further down past the lifts. You walk past the lifts on your right-hand side, and you go in there. That's Nelson Mandela, and people will be online. Just on the other side, there's our library, but I'm sure you won't want to go to the library yet, because you might get to know it very well in future. So, MBA in Nelson Mandela on that side. Now let me defer to our organizing people. Have I covered everything over here? Nobody's shouting at me and waving me, so I've obviously done the right thing today. It's been lovely seeing you. Thank you for being here. You've offered up your precious time. You've made a decision. You want to take it further. Allow us to be part of your future. From me, James Forson, this is Regenesis Business School, and for me right now, goodbye, but have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much.